All right. I think we should be going live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this stream. Glad to see everyone in. Today, if you didn't catch the poll or if you didn't see on our Discord channel or anything like that, we are going to be drawing modern video game characters this time around. So we're going to be drawing video game characters, but with a bit of a modern twist. So, you know, whether well, they're gonna have the same design, but we're gonna put them in modern outfits, right? So we're gonna kind of design some modern outfits for some video game characters that you may or may not know. But if you didn't catch the poll, we had a few. Hello, hi Arunia. If you didn't catch the poll, we did decide who we were gonna start with, who I would be working with, so we decided that we were going to work with Venti from Genshin Impact. If you don't play Genshin, Genshin is like a recent kind of, I think it's like a, I don't play it. It's like kind of like a gacha, I believe. It's like a gacha fighting kind of game, a gacha adventure. Love Medibang. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, we're going to get started with that then. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm actually going to hide this layer because it takes up a little bit of space. I'm going to create a new one just so we can get going. I'm also going to turn down my correction. I did a few preliminary sketches of Venti yesterday. We're gonna... When I was doing some preliminary sketches, he's a lot of fun to draw, actually. The thing with when they say modern clothing, right? I'm just gonna get going sketching. If you'd like to follow along, you may. It's a gacha open world styled RPG. Yeah. Yeah, the cool thing when it comes to modern clothing is that when you think modern, a lot of people usually think like, oh yeah, like streetwear, because that's a very like common modern clothing. But the thing is there's so many, there's so much like, what's it called? Oh my god, there's so many subgenres and different styles of fashion, right? And it's like what encapsulates modern isn't necessarily like just one singular fashion sense, right? Hello, hello, Alyssa. And hello to everyone else who is popping in. Glad to see y'all here. So I'm just kind of working here. I don't want to spend forever on single characters, so I'm just trying to go fast with them. I did do a couple of, like I mentioned, I did a couple of preliminary sketches of Venti yesterday, so I could get a feel for his character, so I can work with him memorized, so I wouldn't have to look at a reference. I think I drew him like 6 times, and I was like, alright, I think I'm good. Again, I don't play Genshin. I know very little about this character. I do know a couple things about him, though. I know he's a bard, which is one thing. Do you know how to export Medibang brushes? I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't know. When you import them, you have to go to the cloud thing. You need an account to download new brushes. How do you make stuff up in your head like that? I don't know, years of practice. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not. But, when you just kind of, draw for a really long time, eventually you grow something called a visual library. Oh, yes, oh my god, I forgot to mention. You are allowed to request video game characters as well. They do have to be generally family-friendly characters, though. If it's somebody that... You request them anyway, even if, like, you don't know if they're family-friendly or not. But... You know, depending on who you ask for, I will tell you if they are or not. Because more likely than not, even if I don't play the game, I'll probably know the character. And if not, I'll just Google them. Me waiting for Jessie to draw Venti as a girl. I know that Venti's a boy. Because he's like a bard, right? I was thinking, you know, I wanted to do some preliminary thinking as well, because I didn't want to spend forever on him. But I was thinking of, I believe the fashion sense is called light academia. There's a ton of different fashions. I love fashion. Fashion is for everyone. Doesn't matter with what you identify with, but I was thinking of light academia because, you know, it's kind of like a, either that or cottagecore. I was really thinking of like two different kind of fashion senses that might work a little bit more for him. I've already seen Venti in a lot of cottagecore. Even though I don't play it, I see a lot of Genshin work on my Twitter timeline. Someone from Smash Bros, you're gonna have to be more specific than that, because there are some from Smash Bros that I'm totally cool with trying, and others that I cannot. Thanks from Immortal Sphinx writing. Alright, I lied. I actually don't know this game. Action Adventure. Alright, I lied. I don't know who that character is. I will try to look into them a little bit more, because generally we should be a little bit. I need to be a bit, careful with who I draw. But, yeah. James from Team Rocket. I will gladly do James in a different outfit. He's not technically a video game character, but I'll allow it because Pokemon, even though he's from the anime, I will gladly do James from Team Rocket. Actually, if you want a fun fact, my brother and I, my name technically is Jessica, but my nickname is Jessie. My brother's name is James. So for a while, when my dad would call my brother and I, he'd go like, Team Rocket, let's go. So, because my brother and I are like, my crest embodiment of family-friendly. Yes, Alyssa, I will draw Leon. She's popping in just to ask me to draw Leon. That's fine. But, yes, so, who's on my list then? I'll have to see about Fanks. Saliha? I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. If you want to specify someone from Smash Bros, I will gladly do that, and that will be the first one that I do. I'll have to kind of read up on Fangs a little bit. James Team Rocket I'll absolutely do, and then that's Sword and Shield. What tablet do you use? Yes, XP Pen Artist 13.3 Pro. Latest model. I use the Cintiq Pro 13. It's a really old model though, so it's not like current. I use a used version of it. I love this tablet. It's lasted me for so long, and it's gone through 2 artists, so like that's pretty good. As if OMG. I am gonna draw Leon Pardeep. You have XP Pen too, it's great because you can use the second monitor. Yeah, my Cintiq has a screen as well. But yeah, it's a little bit old, so it's a little bit outdated. Okay, so I've kind of finished the body here. Again, I didn't want to spend forever on it. I'm gonna go crazy and do another layer of sketch because I want to do the outfit on top of it. Like I said, I'm kind of going for like a light academia. If you don't know what that is, light academia. It's called light academia because it's kind of like a little bit lighter, because there's dark academia and there's light academia. Light academia is a little bit like, think of like an academy. That's why it's called academia. Think of like old academy clothes, like kind of English academy clothes, and that's kind of what it is. Light academia is kind of the opposite of it, where it's a little bit cuter. I might go for cottagecore though, just because like, yeah, you know what? Let's do let's give him an outfit that I actually own. Let's go for that. Him, Reinhardt, looks, yeah, if it's characters outside of Sword and Shield, that's fine. Expect. It's a Zelda Assassin's Creed hybrid game. It's like surprise offending. It's not a family. I mean, Assassin's Creed isn't family friendly at all. So, um, I'm gonna check the ESRB rating if it has one. If the ESRB rating is fine, then I'll do it. If it's anything over E10 and up, I don't think I can do it. So I'm sorry. He's a Gaumon M16K. 60K. Surprisingly adapted to the screenless tablet. I used to use a screenless tablet. Oh, you know what? Let's start off with advice from Jessie, because we're gonna... Oh, actually, you know what? No, I'll start by talking about, clothes. So, when drawing clothes, especially, different styles of clothes, when it comes to modern clothing, you have a world of references, right? The thing with drawing clothes, though, is that you need to know how things fold, and clothing folds are something where, like, crazy amount of references is probably your best bet, because clothing folds are something that you need observation for, right? And understanding how they fold, where they should fold, right? Because there's a difference between a fold that's caused from tension, a fold that's caused from bunching, and then a fold that's caused from, like, just the natural drapery of the clothing. Right? Overall, when I do clothing folds, you can generally do them as, like, these long triangles, ovals, or just singular lines. Very, very generally, you don't really want them to all be parallel like this. That can look kind of unnatural. For me, I tend to just kind of pair them with, like, either a loop and a line, or a triangle and a line. But then understanding where those go is also very, very important, right? So because this knee is bent, there's going to be bunching at the crease of the knee here. Zelda from Breath of the Wild. Ooh, definitely. I love Zelda. Do I play Breath of the Wild? I still play it to this day. I played it maybe a year after it came out, I think, just because I didn't have a Switch and I didn't want to play it on the Wii U. But we didn't get a Switch until, like, 2017, I think, even though it came out in 2016. Well, we got it the Christmas of 2016. So a little bit afterwards. What would be the shoes of this outfit? Sorry, I gotta think about that. Let's just go with Converse, because that's pretty cottagecore. Actually, cottagecore would be, like, clogs. But I'm kind of thinking that he's, like, a band kid, so, like, band kids kind of have, like, a fashion sense. It's always, like, light academia or cottagecore or something. But yeah, no, Breath of the Wild is like a game that I've already finished it, but it's that game, because even though I finished the main story, it's one of those games where you can just always come back to it, because there's a crazy amount of side quests and whatever. So I'm like, I can just keep playing. I played it recently, actually, again, just because I wanted to de-stress a little bit. It's a really, really good game. If any of you have not played it before, I so recommend it. It's such a good game. Hello, M. Welcome in. Okay. Oh, you know what? Because he's here, I might as well do a beret, too, because he has a hat. This will kind of bring back his original design as well. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both of these layers into a folder real quick. I'm just going to name it what I normally name my sketch layer. Come on. Work for me. There we go. Hide that and lower the opacity, so then I can lower the opacity of both without losing that kind of progress. I'm just going to line this really quick too. See, I'm trying to be speedy. I don't want to spend forever on one character because I want to make sure that I get to a bunch of you. I'm going to switch this pen to opacity by pressure as well. I'm also not going to turn on my smoothing, just because that's going to waste time. Okay. Almighty Venti head. I'm just not playing the story, but run right around and look at the landscape. Ah. You have been eagerly waiting for this stream. Ah, well then welcome. We're starting off with Venti, just because that's who won the poll. I was surprised. I was kind of monitoring the poll. I was surprised for a while that Tails beat out Link for a bit. Honestly, I would have been completely happy to draw Tails. I'm not a huge, like, Sonic fan, but Tails is such a cute character. Like, he's so well designed. He's really, really cute. He needs this to de-stress. Same, actually. I love streaming, guys. Like, I don't know about... I'm glad that you guys are popping in. I love streaming. Just, like, interacting with you guys is a lot of fun. So generally, the ideal when it comes to lining is to get everything in one go, right? You generally want to, like, certain lines, you kind of want to get them in one go, not have to worry. If your lines kind of look like this is called feathering. Feathering is a type of line work that I think should only be, personally, I think should only be reserved for fluffy or furry creatures, right? Because it does look like a bit like fuzz. So especially with hair, you can get a lot of really big sweeping motions with it. So that you can probably get in one go. I think Alyssa's gone over it in one of her videos, not in a live stream. But braids, if you ever struggle with braids, you can just draw them as like hearts. A bunch of kind of hearts with the center line down them. Luckily, you're gonna draw something tonight. Excellent. I draw every day, so I have to fill up a sketchbook. But regardless, I would have probably drawn every day anyway. Oh, and I was gonna say something about tablets as well, because we were talking about tablets. When you're getting a tablet for the first time, for those of you who don't have one, for those of you who do have one, hey, tablet gang. If you don't have one, oh, I should save this. I'm just gonna, I'll save it properly later. For those of you who do have a tablet, I heard a lot of screen tablets, which is great. Screen tablets rule. But if you are thinking of getting a tablet, I actually don't recommend your first tablet be a screen tablet. I recommend your first tablet be a tablet without a screen. Mainly because then you can, A, train yourself to work without one. And B, they cost a lot less. Digital art isn't for everyone. I know some people who, like, despise digital art. And that's totally fine. Like, if you've tried it and you find that, hey, I'm not a huge fan of it, that's completely fine. It's great, it's super fun, but some people just don't vibe with it, and, like, that's totally fine. But you don't want to have, like... you don't want to have busted a few $100 on a really, really good screen tablet and suddenly find that you don't like digital, right? So if you're just starting out, you don't know what to use, I would recommend using without a screen. Those lines are crispy, I'm jealous. Thank you. I'm actually a line artist. So, I think, one of the people that works at the studio, Geo, she said, we were talking with somebody and she was like, Jessie, your lines are so precise, they're almost medical. And I was like, oh, thanks. I think this time around I'm just trying to be fast, though, so this is not as precise as I would normally do my lines, but thank you. Your anatomy sucks. Shoulders. Oh, okay, then. For the next character, I'll go a little bit more in-depth with anatomy, then. Yeah, try to do at least one drawing sketch per week. That's good, yeah. Even one per week is great. Like, drawing every day is fantastic, but you'll find, especially if you don't have, like, the motivation to do it, you'll just find that you're gonna be wearing yourself down really, really easily. So, once a week, if you're not, like, trying to really grind, is completely fine. Yep, you bought an on-screen tablet last year for starters. If you want to know what my very first tablet my very first tablet was was this tablet from, like, the 90s. It's older than me. And it was barely compatible with my laptop. My laptop, by the way, was so terrible. It had, like, when I say so terrible, I mean, like, at one point I pulled the charging cord a little too hard and it ripped out the entire charging port. So we got it fixed, but it didn't really fix properly. So it didn't get fixed properly, so, like, if I moved it a little bit, then it would stop charging. And also the battery was basically dead, so I couldn't unplug it, ever. or else it would die and wouldn't turn back on. So that was my very first laptop and tablet combo. Oh, and then like a definitely legal version of Photoshop. But that was my very first tablet. I didn't have pen pressure on that tablet either. And I learned how to do digital from that. And then I graduated to an Intuos, which also didn't have a screen, but it did have pen pressure and it worked beautifully. And then I graduated to a Cintiq when I was 16, I think. Correction 0. Yep. If I keep my correction up, then it's gonna slow me down. So, because I'm gonna worry about being too exact. The tip for working with line art, at like no correction, no smoothing, is you just gotta work fast. I always compare it to riding a bicycle. When you ride a bicycle, the faster you go, the easier it is to balance. It's just the same with line art. The faster you go, the easier it is to do something smooth. I used a normal tablet for Lennox Williams. I used a normal tablet for a while, but something got lost and I got a Wacom. I found the missing part of the old tablet, sketched with it, but now it loses connection like every 2 seconds. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta retire old tablets. It's never worth it. I know this kind of laptop demo. I'll rip my dear friend. Yeah. Why do I have a steady hand on paper but super shaky on a tablet? Sometimes we work differently depending on the medium we're using. I know I work completely differently with paint than I do with a pencil and I do with digital. Digital, you want to have those really long, quick strokes because it's a lot more sensitive than a pencil is. Because, you know, they're picking up your handshake. They're picking up your hand sensitivity. So it's going to be a little bit different. Some people also, you know, you grow up writing in a paper, like a pen and paper in school, right? You don't grow up drawing digitally. So it's like, it's kind of like learning how to hold a pencil all over again. That's kind of how I've always said it was like. Actually, your first tablet was a screen tablet. I still use it, the one I mentioned earlier. Ah, well then you're lucky. Not everyone can start with a screen tablet. Your hand is almost always shaky, but it's getting better. Good, 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 good. It means you're practicing. Always good to practice. Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the time. Like 20 minutes already on this character. I didn't want to spend 20 minutes on them. That's fine. With my luck, hopefully I'll get to do 4 characters. So I'm just trying to. This is really shaky, these lines down here. Oh well. I gotta pick my battles. You know what, too? I'm gonna save time by just making the laces black. I can live with that. When you're drawing laces, you don't just want to draw X's. You want to figure out which eyelets they're coming through, right? Which one's coming over, which one's coming under. Right? Because that's kind of how you lace up shoes, regardless. That's a good analogy. Thank you. Are you currently using Medibang? Thanks so much for this, by the way. I was literally looking for a Medibang tutorial, watched your vid, and saw that you were currently live. Oh, yes. This is Medibang, and thank you. That means you've heard my voice twice now. I'm sorry. I decided to start sketching traditionally because the stream gave me some motivation. Thanks. No worries. It's always great to get a boost of motivation. My motivators are usually watching a Ghibli film. My parents bought it on my birthday, lol. I had been looking into some, actually. I love XP Pen. XP Pen is really, really great. Especially if, like, you've never used a Wacom before. I'm kind of partial to Wacom just because I like the way their pens feel a little bit better. Because Wacom has a back eraser, and, like, I'm so used to using the back eraser that, like, if I use anything else, then I'm gonna get so mad. Because I know that a lot of tablets, other than Wacom, don't have a back eraser. I went to Fan Expo back when, well, I mean, I used to go every year. Obviously, I couldn't go this year. But I went to Fan Expo, and their XP Pen was unveiling their stuff there, and I was like, oh, a screen tablet, and it's cheaper, right? And I was gonna get it, but then I saw the pen, and I was like, oh, I don't like the way it handles. Because I'm a little bit of a snob, I will admit that. But Yeah, if you love XP Pen, then oh my god, go for it. Because sometimes we find that other tablets handle a little bit better just for our own needs or whatever. Alright, sorry, I'm not reading the chat for a second, just so I can get this done. Wonderful. There we go, lines. Trying to go really fast with it. So I'm like going full bodies because I want to do full bodies because it's fashion and I want. It's like it'd be a crime if I did a half body with fashion. All right, I'm gonna use. This is technically a Photoshop artist's tool or trick, but I can use the magic wand, hold Shift a couple times to select areas. My expand is already at 2. Control Shift I. Have this set to. Let's change this to C for color. Reference, yep, canvas. And let's eyeball his palette. Oops. Reference, oh no, reference the layer. That's right. There we go. And now let's lock it. Excellent. Sorry, I gotta read all these again. Arunia, any tips for character concept buildings? Challenges like this are a great way to loosen up and try new things. Yes, especially for character concepts, you want to kind of build up, what's it called? You want to kind of build up, first of all, a reference, a group of references, especially if, like, you know, you find that your visual library is not very strong. I think I mentioned that, like, 20 minutes ago. The visual library is something that you build over time as you grow as an artist, mainly because it's something where if you draw something over and over, then it's added to your visual library. If you are able to memorize it, it's added to your visual library. Like if you can draw it without a reference anymore. But especially if you're designing a character that you don't have inspiration for to begin with, right? Say if you're on contract or if you're being paid to design a character and you're given very little, then you're probably going to have to look up a bunch of references, find things to inspire you, right? Maybe watch like like say if you want like a woodland elf kind of character, right? Maybe you're going to take inspiration from the woods. Maybe you're going to draw inspiration from what's around you, right? For instance, right now, as I draw Venti, I'm taking inspiration from his palette more than anything. Because he has a very nice monochromatic kind of palette. It's very teal, black, white, and green. Or it's a little bit analogous, but it is mainly within that monochrome, which I really, really loved. So that's kind of what's happening right now. The difference between a pen with battery and without is insane, weight-wise. Oh, absolutely. My friend has an iPad, and I was like, this is so heavy. You're almost done already. Damn. Yeah, I gotta move fast. Hang on. Venti. I don't remember the color of his eyes. I'm just looking up a reference off my phone. Okay. Cool. So they're like a teal. That's easy. What was the first drawing software I used? A completely legal version of Photoshop. It was Photoshop CS5. But yeah. Completely legal. Absolutely. Oh, is my tolerance to 1? Of course it is. Let's switch that. 34. There we go. That works. And let's do... This is an outfit I own, so I'm just trying to... Let's do a little darker than that. Yeah, there we go. I know this will sound dumb, but I always wonder why artists draw a triangle on the other side of the nose. Like, when they draw a nose, I know it's a shadow or something, but I don't know exactly why. What is that? That is stylistic choice. A lot of things that artists do tend to be stylistic choice, especially as they grow older and they learn A, all the basics, B, want to break them. So that is a very anime kind of esque trick. I'm assuming that you mean when they have like the line like this and then it's like a triangle kind of like that. Or it's like that to kind of show off the shadow of the nose. That's a very anime-esque trick. I used to do that as well when I was younger. I don't do it anymore. Instead, I do a few lines above the nose to kind of show off like a shadow of the nose. I'm not going to shade these, by the way, or I might. I might shade one of them, but I don't want to shade this one because this is not a request and I don't want to spend forever on it. Oh, you know what? Let's do like a teal for the shoes. Yes, so I can bring that color back in. Yeah. I love the select alpha trick. I knew I wish about it earlier. All that time I wasted trying to color within the lines. Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, I didn't learn about alphas until I was like, oh god, I didn't learn about like color locking or alphas until like 2 years after I started drawing. So, if that makes you feel any better. I don't really watch tutorials or anything. Most of the time I'm very self-taught. So like I'm a very self-taught kind of figure it out person. So like everything that I've learned from digital, 90% of the time I've learned it myself. Like I've never been to a lesson or anything. But yeah, no, I get it. It's sometimes you're like, why didn't I learn that? And it's, you know, so be it. Do you think the color wheel or the block is better? I use the block. I grew up using the block, so I'm very used to it. The color wheel gets you an accurate kind of more accurate depiction of how color works, but like, because I was trained traditionally, it's fine for me. So I'm like, I don't really care. It's whatever I think works better with your workflow. I should do this for his hair. Oh, you know what? Reference layer. Spin to 0. I'm trying to make it fast. That's just what I'm doing right now. There we go. Okay. And is this set to passive pressure? Do you think the color wheel of the block is better? Wait, how did you make it so that it won't draw over without a clipping mask? Oh yeah, I have Protect Alpha. I alpha locked the layer. Jessie, can you draw some enamel pins on his outfit? Oh my god, on his hat. Yes, that's very, very cottagecore. Definitely. This is Venti, by the way, if you don't know. Thanks, Jessie. LOL, love the Woodland character. Good tips build inspiration from things we already enjoy. Great ideas to build a visual library. Yeah, it's always a good idea to build a visual library. Whether you're experienced or inexperienced. Yeah, it's more this color. I'm trying to make it quick. I'm like, over the years, I've like built up like, how do I make it the most efficient way to make it fast? Okay. Let's do a really, really quick shadow for Venti, and then I'm gonna move on to the next character, because I'm like, oh, it's 12:33. I hate that. Let's turn off opacity by pressure. Just use super quick. I have to be quick. I think in the studio, some of them have said it's like my sonic speed. Yeah. I tend to try to be really, really fast. My record for drawing an entire human figure is 30 seconds. I learned Protect Alpha from your Medibang video, Jessie. Thank you. Of course. No worries. Glad I could teach. I love teaching. Anyone pulled Venti here. Venti is so hard to get, I've heard. I don't know anything about Genshin, but I've heard the cries. Right now I know a lot of people are trying to get, Zhao, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I did that wrong, because I know it's a Chinese game. I am Chinese, but I can't speak Chinese. But yeah. Did you just use the magic tool with the hair? Yes, I used the magic wand to select the hair, because I knew that the hair was a single color. So it's easier to use the magic wand to select it, and then to do the gradient on top of that. Which I just did with the brush, by the way. I don't recommend using the gradient tool. The gradient tool can get kind of messy. I don't know if you've noticed. I'll point this out with my shadows as well. I mentioned stylistic choice. My shadows are a very stylistic choice. I love to make my shadows very geometric, which isn't realistic at all, but it adds a little bit of a flair, which I really like. Yeah, whoa. What classes do you teach? I am teaching currently Cartooning and Anime 3 with Wing Canvas, and I teach art mentorship. So my art mentorship is pretty much just technically the art mentorship is called comics and manga, but truthfully I just kind of I teach digital work. I just teach a lot of drawing tips basically. It's student led, so if you like have something in, like specific that you want me to teach, then I'll teach it for that week. How do you select the shadow colors? Do you move down the valley or move on the color wheel? So for me, my shadows, I like them to be blue. For me, I do the multiply trick, kind of like what Alyssa does, but I just leave it to one layer because I can't be bothered. I'm kidding. But normally I do more than one, but I'm trying to be quick. But yeah, so with me, Alyssa likes to do a light pale color. I tend to do a dark and saturated color. I switch the blending mode to multiply and then turn down the opacity to adjust a little bit. So kind of like a little bit less vivid colors for shadows. So that's kind of how I'm going. It really depends on what base color you want for your shadows. For me, I like for them to be blue. I know that a lot of people prefer red. I'm more of a blue person, personally. Okay, let's do a bit of the hair shine. And just for fun, let's do a little... I'll do that little enamel pin idea. I don't remember how to draw a treble clef. Woof, it's been years. I used to be a music student. I don't remember how to draw anything from music. Let's pretend that this is a good-looking treble clef. Yeah. It kind of looks like a sticker, but... Okay. I'm gonna move on to the next character now, because I want to get that down. Okay. Venti, it is! How do you... Oh. Could I draw Mario? I'll see. Yeah, if I have the time. Sparks Classic. Wow, the shadows. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Who was next? Who was next? There's so much in this chat. Okay, I'm sorry. Just because I don't think I have the time to, like, fact check about things, I'm gonna have to skip him. So I'm sorry, but I will... If you have another character that is from a slightly more, like, known game, then I will gladly do that for you. If not, I'm gonna switch to James. I already know how to draw James. I'm gonna look up a reference anyway. James, Team Rocket. Team Rocket, there we go. Look at this man's... What a guy. I think I'm gonna go for... You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do avant-garde. Avant-garde is kind of a fashion sense where... it's very... It's kind of nonsensical. It's high fashion, technically. It's like high fashion. But for a lot of people, it makes, like, no sense. Just because it's really, really weird. It's known for being really weird, right? But I feel like that fits him. Because he's such an over-the-top character. I loved. Like, his character writing is so good. And the iconic voice that just gets weirder with every season. It's so good. Okay. So that's James from Team Rocket, and then Leon from Sword and Shield. Okay. Oh, Link again. Oh, do you know what then, Lennox? Because I couldn't do your original character, I'm gonna do Link for you. Just to make it a little bit. Because you did request somebody first. Asuna from SAO. We are doing video game characters. Asuna is not from a video game, but... Am I comfortable with anatomy? Like, for instance, if you had to draw a really muscular one. I'm gonna be real. Muscles are one of my favorite things to draw. I don't do them on stream. But I love muscular, more athletic bodies. For instance, because I'm doing Link now, I'm going to do athletic wear. Because I feel like that's something he'd wear. But I love drawing muscles. Muscles took me about 2 years to kind of learn on my own. And to get really comfortable with. Especially with muscular bodies, they can get kind of tricky. So I definitely do recommend looking up references. I'll go over it a little bit while I draw Link, because Link is definitely a good example of someone who's probably a little bit more muscular because he's a swordsman, right? So I'll go over that a little bit. Me who learns shadows right now felt. If you're anyway, thank you. Live an Abby separate live stream. Please do that all you my life. Love you, Jessie. Please do a muscle class. If you join my art mentorship, you can you can request it. I just take Dragon Ball references for muscles, JK. Dragon Ball is very, very exaggerated. Not technically incorrect. There's a lot of things that Dragon Ball does correctly, but it is extremely, what's it called? Exaggerated. I have a Link Nendoroid. I'm like looking back to see what he looks like. Okay. I draw Wind Waker Link a lot more often. He has earrings too, doesn't he? What a guy. When I make the body construction, I often skip the top clothes because the muscles took too much time already. Yeah, when you're too proud of a section that you just gotta skip it, I feel. You just gotta, like, move past. I won't go over, like, anything too specific, but for me to draw the kind of chest area, I like to mimic the shape of a rib cage. I go down into almost a bent macaroni shape. And add nuance on top of that. I skip a lot of the shape steps because I've done them so much that I'm like, I don't really need them anymore. Play some video game, I don't know, for half an hour. Plays for 2 hours is 2 hours is a good limiting time. I think I played, like, I finished Omori recently. I played that game. I spent 17 hours playing it one day over the Christmas break. I'm gonna go eat now. I'm gonna go back already thankful. See you next week or later. Alright. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you here, Pardeep. I have it zoomed in, so like sometimes it's a little bit off. These legs you can kind of think of as like almost like an S shape or a 5 when you draw them. And your feet should be approximately the same length as your head. So like from your chin to the top of your head, your feet should generally be that length. I'm smashing it. Justin says anatomy and muscles. I'm pretty sure Alyssa and I will both teach it very differently. But yes, anatomy and muscles are some of the most difficult things I've ever had to learn. I love dynamic poses, and I love all those kind of action poses and expressions, so those have always been kind of easy for me. But for the longest time, I was very much like a very thin, lean kind of body type illustrator. So then it was like, at one point I was like, okay, I probably should learn how to draw a muscle structure. And then I tried, and it was very hard. And so I took a few years to learn it. Again, like, I'm not a very big tutorial drawing, like, person. So it's like, if I see, like, an image, and I'm like, yes, reference. And I kind of look at it for, like, 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay. And I, like, kind of absorb that knowledge and just go. That's how I learn. How did you get poses right? I struggle a lot with proportions. Just say quick. How did you get poses right? You struggle a lot with proportions. Well, A, references. References are your friend. B, for me, I do a lot of anatomical stylization. So a lot of my like poses and what are very, very exaggerated, not necessarily realistic. But you learn from realism and then go from there. I think I'm gonna do one of those, like, tank top. Tank top sweaters, yeah. That all runners use, yeah. And gym shorts, because I've heard that some guys don't like their gym shorts being above the knee, but I feel like it's a lot more freeing when it's above the knee, you know? He should have a Fitbit. I'm gonna give him Fitbit. And then, like, the wireless earbuds. Yeah, cool. Just goes over there and just goes over here. Frankenstein of muscles from references. Pretty much. Looking for photo reference is one of the best things you can do. I'm gonna give him the Pumas that I wear, because I know how to draw those really fast. The shoes that I wear. I'm a really big shoe person. So, like, not as big of a shoe person as my brother, but I do like shoes a lot. Oh, I did that all in one layer. Oh well. Alright, move on to lines. I gotta move quick. I want to try to get at least 4 people done. You can always study the old masters. Yes, another really, really good tip. Study from the older people. If you want a really, really more accurate, like a more realistic person to study from. Oh my god, I was gonna suggest an artist. I don't even remember his name. I keep forgetting it for some reason. It's like, I don't remember the name of his work too. Like, it's so familiar to me. There's one of, like, one of his famous pieces is of a little girl being led away by police. I don't remember what it is. His name is, though. There used to be one of his paintings in the wing campus bathroom. One of his paintings used to be the wing campus bathroom. It was like of a doctor's checkup. If any wing canvas people are watching right now, if you can just tell me, that'd be fantastic. But I can't. If you can say his name, that'd be great. But his anatomy is phenomenal. I love his work a lot. I say that and I don't even remember his name. I'm sorry, it's been a really long time. Yeah, studying the old masters is a great way to take anatomy. For fashion in general, though, again, like I mentioned way in the beginning, if you weren't here from the beginning, I'll say it again. These are modern fashion designs, but the thing with modern... Norman Rockwell! Thank you! Thank you. It's Norman Rockwell. That's his name. He's a really, really good artist. So if you want to study an old master, you can definitely study Norman Rockwell. Once went to a museum with class, and they were rushing through, and I just spent an hour comparing 2 oil paintings to see if they were done by the same person, alongside my German teacher, I feel. Famous American illustrator who did the covers of Saturday Evening Post. Wonderful, yes. Norman Rockwell. I love Norman Rockwell's paintings. They're super, super good. But yes, in terms of just modern clothing in general, modern is such a broad term. Some people, I've been told that some art critics think that, like, 1920s is still modern art, so, like, but in terms of modern fashion, modern is a constantly shifting meaning, right? Modern has a constantly shifting meaning, especially in this day and age where there's so much fashion around, right? Of course, trends are one big popular thing, but there's so many different things that encapsulate modern work. So kind of understanding, especially when it comes to characters that already exist, or if you're trying to design a fashion line for a character that you have designed, kind of understand what social groups wear certain things, right? A very obvious one would be, like, you know, like, kind of grunge wear. Obviously, there's, like, a grunger, goth, that kind of fashion sense is very obvious, you know. More gothic individuals would probably wear that kind of thing, right? Sportswear, activewear is obviously worn more by active people. What's become very commonplace in terms of, like, just regular, well, not regular, but, like, more trendy fashion is, what's it called? Active loungewear, I think that's what it's called, where it's, like, you know, a lot of hoodies and a lot of sweatpants and stuff like that. Active loungewear, yeah, that's something, I think that's what it's called. Kind of understanding where your character fits in terms of the fashion scene will absolutely help. when it comes to designing a outfit for them. I'm gonna do this zip up, so this can be, he's tied here. And the only reason I don't really need references for any of this right now is because A, I either own these, or B, it's like, I've done this fashion sense a bunch of times, and it's not hard for me anymore. But especially if you're not too confident with fashion, when I was still trying to, like, come up with outfits all the time, references. I still have references like crazy, especially if I need new inspiration. But references are definitely necessary because of that constant shifting meaning of modern, right? Because modern is not a singular, doesn't have a singular meaning because it constantly shifts, because what the modern age is, time doesn't stay still, right? I like Link's yoga hair bun. I mean, Breath of the Wild, he does have like a ponytail, doesn't he? When did I discover Medibang? I think we were going through, like, if I'm being completely honest, we were going through different, like, free softwares that we could, teach our students, and Medibang popped up. And we got a bunch of our teachers to test it. I said that it was pretty similar to Photoshop, which is what we originally taught in when we first started doing our digital art lessons, so then we stuck with Medibang. And Krita is what we use for our animation classes, because A, it's free, B, it has an animation thing. Medibang does not. So the two free softwares that we use is Medibang and Photoshop. You can't see my bottom bar, but like how Alyssa normally uses Clip Studio, I normally use Photoshop. So Medibang isn't my go-to, but it is still a really, really good program. I'm trying not to slow down because I'm like... One thing you might notice about my lines is that I like to nuance them a lot. I really like a lot of line weighting. I'm a very line weighty person. Is anyone in chat trying to go for, to work in arts as, like, a profession? Are y'all, like, trying to go for professional arts, or are y'all just hobbyists? A hobbyist would mean, like, you'd going for a different thing, but you want to do art as a hobby. I know there's lag, so I'm just waiting for it until I say that. Because I do have some advice for those of you who are trying to go professionally as somebody who was in the video game industry for a really short amount of time. You might do it alongside another job. Ace Little Fire says, anyone else thinking of doing it professionally? This arm is wrong. Yeah, it is wrong. I have to raise this a little bit higher. Because your wrist and this bone. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Because I don't want to... Yeah. You have to work as some kind of cover designer. Cover design is really, really fun. It is illustrative, and most of the time it is, it delves into graphic design as well. So you're gonna have to probably be trained in graphic design in order to do cover artwork. The combination that I'd probably go for would be like illustration and graphic design. Yeah, I was just trying to check if there were any people who want to do animation in the chat. Animation or game design, because most people, that's kind of what they default to, and that's totally fine. My best friend is an animator. But then that means a lot of things have to happen, especially if you're going into the entertainment industry. A, you're going to have to learn how to be fast. I mean fast. you gotta be me. You gotta be faster than me. Um, it's like, I mean really fast. B, you're gonna have to, like, kind of learn how to problem solve on your own. You have to memorize a lot of measurements and anatomy, and you need to be able to break out of defaults and whatnot. I think there's a lot of confusion about how painting and art translates to careers. Absolutely. Especially because for a really long time, people are like, oh, yeah, there's no money in art. I think I've been told that straight to my face. I was younger, and one guy was like, why do you draw all the time instead of, like, trying to study for a real job? And then, like, the girls around me got really mad, which was kind of funny. How do you get the waist area? Yes, animation trying for hobby. Ah, so you're going for a hobbyist as an animation. Okay, well then you don't have to worry about anything then. If it's just a hobby for animation, it's fine. You don't have to. If it's, like, professionally, that's when you gotta worry about a lot of stuff. And yeah, faster than me. Like, you have to be able to draw a lot of your human figures in under 30 seconds. It's tricky. I know that Sheridan, I think, does, like, 30-second studies. Want to know the career choices for art? Same here. I used to want to animate, but I realized that I dislike drawing repetitive things. I understand. I'm a very repetitive person, but I'm not an animator. I'd rather be a comic artist. So, because I love story. I'm a storyteller at heart, really. Yeah, you want to know the careers in terms of art. There's so much. There's so much. I can't list everything because I don't know everything. I learned last year that a cleanup artist was a thing. If you just want to line art all day, that's what you do in cleanup arting. There's cleanup artists, there's colorists, there's background artists, there's character designers, there's so much. There's so much. It takes research to kind of figure out what you would like to do as you get older, right? You get really bored of drawing the same thing over and over. Yeah, that's the thing with the animation, is that you gotta have, like, kind of a willpower to do that. But the end result is so worth it a lot of the times. That's what a lot of animators have told me. It's like, yeah, you gotta be repetitive, but that ending payoff is so worth it, is what I've been told. I'm just gonna get rid of this because I don't remember how to draw these shoes. It's been so long. Some of the shoes, especially if I own them, you can ask what they are and I'll probably know. Okay, let's wand this because... Oh, let's expand this by 2 again. When we get to the top of the hour, I'll do some plugging. Because I know I'm supposed to do that. Ugh, you know what? Let me just kind of color pick. Oh, whoops. Okay. Sorry, little cousin here. That's fine. Art is a career, yeah. The only thing you know is commission work. Commission work is called freelance. Freelance is a very, very risky side of art. It's a very risky career in art. It has a lot of payoff, but it has a lot of risks. I do commissions off to the side as well as doing stuff with Wayne Canvas. But the thing with commission work and freelance in general is that the good thing is that you're your own boss, right? You control... I'm gonna give him Raycons, because I have Raycons. The good thing about freelance is that you are your own boss, right? And you can kind of control your hours and everything like that. But the thing is, though, is that you have a very, very unstable... Oops. You have a very unstable source of income. Because it's like sometimes you'll be, like, waiting for your next job for ages, right? So, like, commission work and freelance, yes, it's an option, but it's definitely, like, usually people pair freelance work with something else as well, like studio work or whatever, like working for big studios. I'm gonna bring back some of his clothing colors that I know of. We're going very blue this time around. I'm a very blue artist as well, so I like working with blues, so I'm completely fine with this. Oh my god, is it really? Okay, let's turn up my tolerance even higher because... Nope. You know what? Sure. I'll change the color of the pants in a second. But yes, there's so much you can do with art, like working in studios, working for yourself, working graphic arts and everything. I would recommend just doing research on it. There's just so much you can do. I would hate cleaning up other people's messy drawings, lol, but hey, there's a job out there for everyone. Hey, V. Genshin Impact, already done. There's Venti off to the side. Violet is a friend of mine, by the way. Cleaning up other people's messy drawings. A cleanup artist actually doesn't do that. What a cleanup artist does is just line their work. But, most of the time, I'm gonna have to turn up my correction for this bit. Most of the time, the work that they're cleaning up is very, very clean. It's just they have to, like, fix it so that it's ready for the colorists to work with. That's really all it is. But, cleanup art, what's really great about it is that you learn a lot about whatever artists you're cleaning up. You learn about their creative processes, which is what a lot of cleanup artists have said. It's like, I've learned so much from the people that I've cleaned up the work of. It's like, I love liner. I find it very, very relaxing. So, like, you know, to each their own, though. Some people may love it. Yeah, honestly, I would not mind being a cleanup artist. I love line art, and I'd love to, like, get better at, like, background art and whatever. Like, I do like drawing backgrounds, but I find that I'm not very good at it, so I want to get better. Just what did you fancy I saw? Just unsure. Yep. As a kid, I thought one person did penciling, line art, and coloring. That's what indie artists do. In a studio, it is split up. So if you are working independently, that's what indie is short for, independent. If you're working independently from a studio, the entire creative process is split up. So there's pencilers. Well, actually, with animation, there's like the outliners, then there's the writers, then the storyboarders, then the pencilers, people who do the pencil tests, and then pencilers, keyframes, and then there's the in-betweeners, the cleanup artists, colorists, and then the special effects artists, as far as I'm concerned. I don't 100% know, but I think that's what it is, if I remember correctly. I'm not good at, like, art. That's a lie. I am sure that you and everyone else in this chat is fantastic. I mean, I am already sure that you're fantastic, but I am sure that everyone else in this chat is also fantastic. But it is at the top of the hour, I just realized. So, for those of you who have not joined before, join our little art nerd community. So that's on Instagram and Discord and Facebook. And you can check out our website, wingcanvas.com, and that way you can see, check out our classes if you ever want to take classes with me, if you're not sick of hearing my voice. I teach art mentorship and I teach cartoon and anime, so if you're ever interested in joining one of our classes, or if you want to join in a little community of other art nerds, feel free to join in, and you can interact with me and some of the other artists within the studio, including Alyssa, and our creative director, Faye, and Gio, and Runia, and all of them amazing people. When I do my animations, lasso Usually ends up being the best thing in the world. I don't tend to use lasso, for more like, what's it called? Precise selections. I tend to use the select pen. Learning from other artists is a great thing. Didn't think about that. Thanks for the insight, Jessie. Of course. But yeah, if I want more precise selections, I use the lasso. I use the, select pen. Because the select pen, you can get really, really fine selections. On both, Medibang and Photoshop, I use select pen. Photoshop select pen is a little different, but it's overall A+. It helps way, way, way much. Yeah, lasso is a very quick kind of selection. And learning from other artists helps you a ton, a ton. Especially as you get older and you start to make more artist friends, you kind of, if you were, I hate saying this, but if you were kind of like me back in, like, elementary school, where it was like I was basically the only artsy person who was, like, completely open with showing her work. All my other artsy friends were, like, super, super shy. But, you know, I got to high school, and suddenly I was no longer the only art kid, right? And I was no longer the best either. But I had so many people to learn from, right? And it really pushed me to get better and focus on art a lot more, because I saw how successful they were with their work, and I'm like, man, I want to reach there, and I let them inspire me and to work, push myself and move forward and everything like that. So, it's always good to learn from other artists. Take in that inspiration. I can hear the strokes on my tablet, so soothing. I think I work very roughly with my tablet. So, hey man, it's lasted me for what, 6 years? So, oh man, is it 6 now? Yeah, 11, 12. Oh no. No, 5. 5 or 4, something like that. Okay, we're almost done with Link here, and then I think it's James next. And then Leon. So I think those are the 4 that I'm going to be doing, because I want to do 4. Right, there's Link! What a guy. God, I love drawing Link. Link is so fun to do, honestly. He really is. Random, but there's a lot of stuff I can improve in my art, but I'm surrounded by very nice people who never say anything negative, so I started uploading my stuff to have less biased critiques. Yes! Oh, I'll talk about that in a second. You do shading so quick. That's super rad. This is not my normal way of shading. This is what I call my quick method. I have a few methods to do everything that I do. These are all my intensely quick ways of doing everything, right? This is not my normal way of doing everything, but thank you. I wonder if the sound is the software doing the real tablet surface. Yep, it's the tablet surface, if I do. You probably heard that. So that's just my tablet. That's a really good idea. Critique is really, really important. Link's cute. He is cute. Who's I doing next? James. That's right. James from Team Rocket. What a guy. What a guy. Get you a guy like James. Forget I said that. But yes, learning from other people is so, so important. Even if, like, you know, sometimes you have friends who are, like, just are kind of, like, yes men, that's what you call them, if they're, like, don't really give you any critique or anything. But even better is when you have friends who do give you critique, who are within, like, the arts community, right? I have a lot of trusted friends who I give my work to and go like, hey, what should I do with this, because I don't like this, and they give me critiques, right? And that's another really, really good thing about having art friends. Randos online are great as well, but they can be harsh. They can be a little mean, so if you're not completely okay with that, then I would recommend art friends. And like I mentioned earlier, I am going to be doing James in avant-garde. Let me read these next couple of chat messages, and I'm going to talk about avant-garde a bit. Oh, the sound, yes. May I save the stream to study it offline? I believe we are going to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to let Wayne Canvas answer that one. Hello, behind the scenes, Wayne Canvas, if you want to answer that one. But... avant-garde is Think of fine arts. If you don't know what fine arts are, it's like kind of like a very experimental form of art. Think of fine arts, but it's translated to fashion. So avant-garde is like the most strange, kind of high fashion-esque arts, fashion style. So I'm gonna go for a really extravagant pose for James here. Especially when posing, one thing you can think of is your line of action. I've stopped drawing it, but I used to draw it all the time. Yeah, I used to draw it all the time, but started Medibang, but the brushes were laggy, so I switched to Fire Alpaca, but then I gave Medibang a second chance and I love it now. PS lag fix, yes. Medibang doesn't really like it when I stream for some reason. It works perfectly fine on its own, but then like if I try to stream to somewhere it gets a little bit laggy for me as well, but it's okay. I can live with that. Yeah, I'm just trying to go really weird with this pose because it's kind of what Team Rocket is. No, that lag is wrong. Let's fix that. But yeah, finding your line of action, which is generally from the back of your head. It's almost like an extended spine. Usually your line of action will also be very, very S-like. So creating that S is really important. So for me, my line of action right now would be kind of like that. If I were to actually draw it in, it'd be kind of like that. Oops. Yeah, sure, close enough. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going for an Art Nouveau kind of thing. Or not Art Nouveau, avant-garde kind of look for James here right now. Because he's so extravagant. He's such an extravagant character. I love extravagant characters. Every artist has a character bias, I find. I'm really exaggerating the legs here, too. I kind of want to fix that, actually. It's like I don't want to spend too long fixing anatomy, but I have to do it. Because I'm deciding to do something that's not a standing pose. Sorry if I go silent for a second. I'm just trying to figure this out. Could just straighten it out. Yeah, okay. After you tried Medibank again, I felt Fire Alpaca was a bit basic for what I do. If you love it, keep using it, just saying what I thought. Yeah, that's fine. Fire Alpaca, I think it's made by the same people. I'm not certain, but I think it is, actually. Oh, here's a tip, really quickly. When you're drawing arms, if you raise your arms up above your head, you can fold them on top of your head, so that means your elbows go up above the top of your head. So when you're drawing somebody, keep that in mind. Your elbows will always go above your head. Just a little bit, though, because your arms have the ability to fold over it. And then your forearm is the same length as your bicep. Or your upper arm, I guess. Not just your bicep. For those of you who are asking about anatomy, anatomy, yes, is measurements, but it's all relativity. It's all based on relativity, so you can measure everything in the body with relativity. Everything is relative to one another. Your hand is generally the same size as your face, so I will make this a bit smaller. It always fascinates me how fast you do your construction for anatomy. I know you've had lots of practice, but I can't help but get jelly. I have to go fast, man. Like, I gotta zoom. It's just how it be. You know what I mean? This pose is so weird. I just like, this is a fun one. Okay. Avant-garde fashion is so weird to kind of design as well, because you can just go completely wild with it. Let me look up some avant-garde fashion for a second. Because this is unprepared, so obviously I'm doing it all on the spot. Krita is too complicated for me. Yes. I don't like saying it. Personally, I don't like Krita. When I work with, the thing with Krita, is that it's very, very different. It's a very different kind of... Hang on. Sorry, I'm looking up references while I talk. Yes! Okay! But the thing with Krita is that its language is very different in comparison to Medibang and Photoshop and whatnot. The reason why I like Medibang more than Krita is because it's very similar to Photoshop. It's also very similar to Clip Studio Paint because I use both. So it's very, very translatable into other programs. Krita takes a different kind of learning curve, so people who use Krita tend to not like to use other programs. That's what I've found anyway. Yes, and then... Yes! Avant-garde fashion is so good. It's so, like, weird, and... But the thing is, though, is that James is weird. But he's such a good character. Especially when drawing clothes or anything that's flowing, you gotta kind of catch that flow, you know? I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like being able to understand which way the wind blows it. Okay. Let's move on to lines before I get too carried away. Alright. Only thing about Medibang is there is no proper blending tool. There's a smear tool, but not the same. Help, please. For me, I blend very manually. So I changed my brush. You can't see the menu that pops up. But for the G pen, it's already down here. So you'll see something down here that says opacity by pressure. I turn that on. So then what it is it tracks your pen pressure, and based off of that, it, oh, I should turn on opacity by pressure. Yeah. The thing with that is that it will track how much pressure you're putting on your pen, and based on that, that's how it controls your opacity. You can see it with my lines where, like, I press a little bit lighter, my pen is a little bit lighter. But that's kind of how I use it to blend. So then I take two colors, and then I just, for those of you who don't know, the shortcut for the eyedropper is Alt. So I just kind of click Alt, keep on clicking it to, like, pick up pigments, put down pigments, etc., etc. It's almost like painting. I mean, it is digital painting, but... If you use programs like Procreate, you can always import the file into a program. They have pretty nice blending tool as well. Yep. Broke, lol. True. Procreate's not free. True. Yeah, and the iPad is not... Yeah, it's not on a PC either. Procreate is nice, though. Another friend of mine uses Procreate. He loves it. I know some people just buy Clip for the iPad and use it there. Clip is short for Clip Studio Paint, by the way, if you don't know. But I know some people do that way. A different friend of mine uses that. I'm going for this kind of long... I'm looking on Pinterest for references. Pinterest is great for references. I I saw a post that was like, I love Pinterest because I'm an artist, but I hate Pinterest because I'm an artist. Because Pinterest is full of a lot of art thieves. But Pinterest is fantastic for artists. I find it as like a better Google. If you need references, it's great. So I'm referencing this like full body suit off to the side here, like shoes included, full body suit. Because I feel like he's worn something like this before. It's like, this is canon. This is basically canon. Free mobile app is Ibis Paint. Ibis Paint is another thing that I see a lot of people love using. I think Ibis Paint has a better mobile app than Medibang does. Medibang's mobile app is a little bit condensed. I've never used Ibis though, so I can't really say. Let's give him gloves. Yeah, fingerless gloves. Let's go. So surprised that Medibang is actually free. Yeah. Technology, man. It's wild that it keeps getting better and it's like free too, right? $122. Oh, those are too long. Like after a year or two of using it, still amazed. Yeah. It's a good program, yeah. I'm trying to learn how to use more than just Photoshop. Like, I know how to use Photoshop, I know how to use Clip, I know how to use Medibang. I was too frustrated to work with Krita. I would like to try Ibis, but I don't have a phone tab. Like, I don't have like a tablet. I just have this Cintiq. I don't really want to work with it on my phone either, because my phone, even though my phone is quite large, I have an S20 FE, Samsung, but like, I don't want to work on my phone screen. It's a little too small for me. My eyes are dying. I'm getting old. It's kind of like Clip Studio, but free. I mean, Cloud Brush is free. I'll take 10,000. Yeah, the Cloud Brushes are nice. Clip is a lot more advanced than Medibang. I will say, like, as somebody who's used both, Clip definitely has a lot more features that Medibang doesn't do quite as well. Both Clip and Photoshop can put clipping masks on folders, which you can't do in Medibang, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot more different types of blurring, there's better blending tools, etc., etc. To each their own, though. Ibis Paint has basically every feature I could think to use, but I'm not the most experienced in digital art, so yeah. You feel like every single time that you use a program, it's like, when you upgrade to a new one, it's like, whoa, this is so much easier now. That's how I felt with a lot of, like, my laptops and whatever. Anyway. Or, like, upgrading to new phones. Yes, it was upgrading to new phones that really, like, it's like, whoa, I can just do this? That's so much easier. Let's pretend that shoe looks good. I'm trying to speed. You see kind of how I'm doing all the clothing folds, though? So, like, based off of where there's tension, based off of where there's bunching. So, again, at this knee, there'd be bunching. There'd be a little bunching here as well. Probably be some bunching behind here, too. Because it's all connected. Clip is on mobile, right? Yes. Which one is the version with animation? I've heard it's really nice for that sort of thing. I can't do high heels. You good. Thank you. Clip is on mobile. Yes. The version with animation, I believe, is Pro. I don't think, oh, no, EX. Sorry. Medibang. No, sorry. Clip Studio Paint EX. Heels are too hard. It's like, I find... This says me. Heels are like, it's kind of just like drawing a shoe, but if you... So a foot, I split into a circle, a trapezoid, a triangle, and a semicircle. You just kind of take those shapes and bend them so it makes this shape more, and then just add on a rectangle. That's kind of how I do shoe heels, if you want to know. But yeah. I'm a Krita user and didn't ever really use anything else because I don't want to spend money if I can use the free one. Yeah, that's fair. If you're gonna switch to a professional arts, though, you're gonna want to learn to use more language-friendly things in the future. If you're gonna work in a studio or anything. If you're an independent artist, it's fine. But studios sometimes will require you to use certain programs. And for studios, most of their industry standard program is Photoshop. And Photoshop and Krita do not translate well to each other. So, if you're ever planning on doing professional arts within a studio, then you may want to switch one day. But if not, that's fine. It's whatever. It's good to learn multiple program languages, I think. It's the same with coding, even though I hate coding. But if you like coding, you're definitely smarter than me. The only type of coding I could do was with, like, Unreal Engine. If you don't know what Unreal Engine is, they're the people who made Fortnite. But, because that's like, I guess I could do it with Blender too, because that's like node coding, not necessarily line coding, so it makes it a little bit easier. Who are you drawing at this moment? I'm drawing James from Pokemon. He's technically an anime character, but like Pokemon is a video game, so I'm counting it. I'm doing avant-garde fashion. Because I think it's great. It fits him so well. I'm gonna give him some sparkles. Because James is a very sparkly character. Alright. Time for color. And then I'll do one more character after this. I can probably fit in one more. Colors in clothing, by the way, works the exact same way as color theory, just in general, when picking palettes and whatnot. Actually, I have to color pick too. I don't have to color pick, but I just have to stare at him for a second. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit redder. Oops. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, so color picking with clothing works the exact same way. Or, yeah, choosing a palette with clothing works the exact same way that choosing a palette with like just a regular piece would be. So research your color theory and research your color palette so you can put together something that works really nicely. One thing that I don't really see brought up a lot when it comes to design in general is making sure that your colors feel right. Right? And there's a couple of the ways that you can do that, right? Sometimes you'll look at a design, you'll go, oh my god, something feels wrong. Right? Especially when a design when you're picking certain colors, you want to make sure that you figure out which one's going to be the accent and which one's going to be, you know, the main kind of palette, the main kind of color. But then also, you have to make sure, even if it is an accent, you have to make sure that you find it throughout. It's not just isolated in a single area. And if it is isolated in a single area, it's most likely going to be in the middle of whatever design you're doing. Right? So say if your accent color is like a light purple, right, or a light blue or whatever, you're going to want to kind of bring that back into the design itself. Right? Just always bring it back. I'm giving him very purple clothing right now, just because he is a very purple individual. I'm going to show you my technique for coloring and shiny things as well. Just have I ever done animation? Yes, I have been trained in animation, technically, from my time working in game art, but I don't like it. I found it just kind of too tedious for me. It was 3D animation, so it is faster than, you know, frame by frame, but even still, it's too tedious for me. As you can see, I like to go kind of fast, so like I'm not patient enough for it. I should know how to code, but I don't. Don't know how I got good grades this way, I feel. I was in computer science for a couple of years, and I don't remember anything from it, to be fair. Like, to be totally honest, I don't remember any of it. Computer science, like, I was one of those kids that, like, didn't really have to study much, but, like, computer science, I studied like crazy, and I still, like, didn't do as well as any of my other, things in high school that, like, I didn't study for at all. It was so annoying. I was like, I'm not a coder. Sometimes everyone around me was like, oh, coding's so easy, but, like, my brain doesn't work for coding. Sometimes you just have to understand what part of your brain works for certain things, right? Like, I'm just not a very, like, mathematic person. So coding just, it's like, he's like, you gotta be creative for coding. And I'm like, I guess you can be, but, like, I'm just not that type of creative, I suppose. Yeah, and then James's hair is, like, it's lavender, as he said before. I think it's this color, then. Yeah, there we go. There's a couple types of coding when it comes to game art, though. Game art doesn't really involve coding at all. Because you're, like, in a game studio, there's two groups of people. You can lump everybody into two groups of people. There's, like, if there's a team of 160 people, or, no, so there's, like, the game artists and the game designers. The game designers are the people who make it work. The game artists are the ones who make it look pretty. Right? So it's, like, you know, figure out how you fit into those. It's up to you. I'm actually gonna make that a little bit darker. Yeah, let's do that. The gloves. Yeah, this is what I mean. See, that glove now looks a little bit off. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna bring up this color. Whoops! Let's turn that tolerance down to 1 again. Yeah. And that's better, because it feels more cohesive with the entire design. It's a very monochromatic look, but I'll stick with it, because I kind of like it. In Procreate, you can turn the color wheel grayscale so you can reveal the colors at the end. How do you do that on Medibang? What do you mean? I'm not certain. Definitely can see you breaking out a few smaller animations frame by frame. I have no patience when I'm drawing regularly, but my animation is what I find relaxing and such. Yeah. It depends per person. My best friend really likes to animate. It's like she works a little bit differently than me. Procreate sounds fun. For me, if you want to know my thing, because I only grayscale things if I want to find their values, because values are really, really important. What I do is I create a layer above everything, fill it in completely white. Oops, that's not white. Fill it in completely white, and then set the color mode, set the blending mode to color. What this does is it reveals all your, what's it called? all your values, but with an accurate value scale. If you're working with just hue saturation slider, it doesn't do it accurately. So this color layer, it's a little bit exaggerated, but it works better, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, wait, let's turn this back to normal for a second, because I don't know what color I used. Okay. Let's get to a Medibang, probably not. Or maybe I just don't know what you're talking about, I don't know. I might just be dumb. Which is a very, very high probability, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm kind of figuring out where the most shadow would be. James is looking fabulous. Absolutely. As he should be. I was hoping to capture that for him. Frame by frame with detailed animation and expressions is very, very, very hard. Yes, especially multi-frame. I'd have to switch to another site, such as Flip a Clip, that has lip synchronicity. Better layer system, which is so weird to me. Yeah. I don't know, man. Some people, it depends on what kind of artist you are. It depends on how your workflow is. To each their own. That's what I always say. To each their own. Life gets so much easier when you just say it is what it is. So you don't know the colors. Like, turn the actual color block grayscale so you don't know the colors. Oh! Oh, that's just changing your file type. You could also probably do that here. I don't know how to do it. Or maybe you can't, I don't know. You can't, I guess that's like a challenge kind of thing. I don't know. Because then that's just learning how to work with values. But because I've seen this so much, I already know which is where. So I don't think it would work with me. Because I've worked with this color scale so much that I'm like, I know that both ends are red, blue is in the middle, but the top is more pink, goes down into the purples, etc., etc. It's like, I don't need to technically see it to know where everything is. Of course, if I want something more exact, I'm going to want to see it, but like, I know where each color is approximately. I like how James is looking. Thank you. I'm trying to get 4 characters in, so I think I can do Leon at the end, because Leon is... Yeah, because I was requested Leon as well. So that's the last character I'm going to be doing, because I'm almost done James here. Leon should be easy for me, because I'm pretty proficient with muscular characters. And I'm not going to do, like, a crazy pose like I did for James. I'm kind of planning out ahead of time as well. I'm probably going to do Leon in business casual, because I know that he's very sporty, but, like, I know Alyssa hates that, so I'm like, what? I'll give him better fashion sense for her, because she's the one who requested him. Okay. Almost done here. Oh. Part of me is like, I wish I had a color history, but it's okay. When you're doing kind of, I'm gonna show you a little trick. When you're doing kind of shiny-ish clothing, depending on where the... Depending on where the clothing folds are, you can kind of give them a little bit of shine. If they're like that kind of fabric, you know? I'm thinking he's a little bit shiny, so I'm gonna give him that. Okay. James is good there. Alright, let's do Leon. Alright. So again, I said I was going to do him business casual. I guess you can see how I draw muscular characters as well, then. He's looking like an outfit a prince would wear. I'm thinking more of a salsa dancer, but yeah, that works too. I think I've memorized how to draw Leon. I'm gonna pull up a... I'm so lucky that, like, half these characters I already know how to draw. Or I know that they look like. Leon. Pokemon. Alright, let's just look at this man's... It's his hair that I struggle with a lot. Okay. I'm sorry if you hear this clicking off to the side. It's me using my phone as my reference thing. But I also have a keyboard on my desk, so I need to move it over a little bit. Okay. Which side did I draw? Link, that way. Yeah, I've drawn Leon a couple times before. You notice how I'm drawing them all with their eyes closed right now, so that I don't have to spend too long on eyes. Little things that make your workflow a little bit faster. You make these little decisions that seem intentional, and they are, but probably not for the reason that people expect. That's how you work fast. Pose, yes. I just decided to use a dark blue for fine lining instead of black for my sketch because I want to experiment with colors. Yes! Actually, a lot of people, I usually work with black. People usually say not to. Technically, you're supposed to line with a dark brown. That's technically what you're supposed to do, but unfortunately, I don't listen to people. I'm kidding. For me, I just like to work with black. It's a more stylized kind of choice. For me, anyway. And I know that we both like Leon ponytail supremacy, so let's do that. Because I love drawing long, thick hair, so... Yes, you can see me kind of working a little bit more proficiently with larger, more muscular body types. Alright. Let's shrink this down a little bit, though, because he's getting a little bit large for the canvas. That's what I get for zooming in. When you're working, generally you want to zoom out, but Medibang's window is, I'm not very used to it, so like I'm just zooming in so I can get a bit more feeling for it. Hiding hands. Love that pose. Quick highlight. Thanks. Hiding hands. Actually, I'm gonna scare y'all for a second. I love drawing hands. I love drawing hands. Hands are one of my favorite things to do. I don't find them hard anymore. I used to. It depends on the pose, I suppose, but like I don't find hands super hard anymore. Because I've kind of grown to understand them. Same with feet. Actually, I'm getting better at feet. I don't think I'm like crazy good at feet. I know I like to draw shoes. Hand stream. One day, maybe. I may shaft that on Alyssa, though, because she's probably better at teaching it than I am. This time I am gonna hide the hands, though, because I think that just for the outfit, I have a kind of coat, wintry outfit in mind. I realize that in reflections like water and glossy spaces and such, it's a little harder to do realism, like just reflections in general. Very much unconfident in reflections. Reflections are tricky, especially if the surface isn't flat. That's gonna take a lot of studying. I'm not great with water reflections either. Drawing water, just reflecting light, is easy to me now. But drawing actual things reflected in water is very, very tricky. I use a lot of digital art tricks to achieve it. But if you're like, no, let me actually raise that a little bit. If you're actually drawing something reflected in the water, that's quite difficult. So you're gonna want some kind of reference for that, most likely. Line art color can really change the feel of the drawing from what I've seen. Lighter colors make it look softer, for example. Of course, because then you're leaning more towards a pastel palette. Drawing with person with hands. No. I know a lot of people like to hide their hands. I don't usually. I like to have them front and center. My best friend loves hands. She loves drawing hands. When I used to hate drawing hands, she would tell me, no, but hands are so fun. And I'm like, wow, why? And then I got older, I'm like, okay, yeah, hands are fun. She's like, she's right. She was right all along. Thinking of giving him a scarf. Let's give him one of those scarves. This is kind of city winter. That's kind of what I like to call it. Modern winter. Modern autumn. Hallmark Christmas movie. Hallmark Christmas movie main love interest. That's what this fashion style is. I'm kidding. But yeah, this is kind of like a business casual winter outfit. That's what I'm kind of thinking for this one. Let's give him Timberlands. This will be the last character, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it. It's 1:47 right now, so there's 13 minutes left. So I'll probably finish this at around 2 something, most likely. We'll see how much faster I can go. To really speed up my process some more. Thank you, Violet. Hands can express so much emotion if you're able to do them right. Of course, hands are very... the entire human body is very, very expressive. Learning how to just draw people... people are very expressive. I think that's the end of my statement. But, you know, learning people is very much like... You know, as you kind of get older and more proficient when drawing people, you kind of learn to observe them more and understand how to do emotions and how to do certain parts of the body and how when something looks right and when something doesn't. It all links to your visual library, as I've mentioned. This is the 3rd time I'm mentioning it. But your visual library is another way for you to check your own work. If you've noticed, I did a lot of adjustments with a lot of different parts of my bodies, and that's kind of me looking back and going back through my visual library and going, okay, no, I've actually done that wrong, so I have to go back and fix it. See, with me kind of not following my sketch right now, that's because the face is a little bit short. I was thinking it needs to be a little bit longer, so it looks a little bit more proportional. So he looks a little bit older, because right now, because when I drew him, his face is a little bit shrunk, so he looked a little bit young. He's technically supposed to be in his 20s, so I need to elongate the face a little bit. But a visual library is something that you build up as you grow older. It's not something that you're going to have immediately. And if you don't have a visual library, that's when you use references. I love facial expression, though I'm not proficient at anything human. I'm the creature feature friend, yes. I love facial expressions. I think facial expressions were the one thing that I grew up with that I kind of had a proficiency towards. I don't think I'm using that word right. I hope I am. Or else I just sound really dumb right now. But it all takes practice. Like, I know that a lot of young artists hate to hear it, but it's like, you know, I'm not that old either. I'm just I say young artists because I'm like, oh, well, anyway. But I know that a lot of people who are learning, they hate to hear it, right? When it's like, how do you get better? And then more experienced artists are like, practice. And they're like, cool, but like, anything else? Like, nope. And you know what? It's completely true. Practice with reference, practice with observation, practice in the mirror, practice often, right? It's all just goes back to practice. That's the thing. Is like practice is like the overall kind of thing that you want to focus on, even though it's not, even though there's different ways you can practice. It all goes back to practice. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember his hair. I remember drawing Leon for the first time, and it took me like 20 minutes to find a reference with like his hair without the cap, because he always wore a hat. I was like, how do you draw his hair without the cap? I was like struggling so much. I think I have it memorized though now. One thing I loved drawing about Leon though was his hair. His hair was always fun for me, because I just love long flowing hair. I draw men a lot more often than women, by the way, so if you haven't noticed. But anyone can have long hair. Fashion is for everybody, man. Whoops. Okay. Hair is my absolute favorite thing to color, draw, and shade. Yeah, hair isn't my favorite, but I do love to draw and shade it. Some people struggle with hair a lot. Um, I've never struggled with it. But yeah, hair is so fun for me too. Just figuring out how it flows. I guess that's why I like to draw clothes as well. Figuring out how it flows, figuring out how it interacts with the things around it, right? When it blows in the wind, how it ties up, etc., etc. All those nuances, very fun for me. Right, because hair has weight, hair has weight, hair has flow. It's just like clothes, but clothes have a different kind of flow and weight and all that. Yo, what's good, homie? What's up, Jay? How we doing? Me and hair have a love-hate relationship, but if it works, it's fun. I'm drawing Leon because, Jay, because, or for anyone else who's joined in, I'm drawing Leon because Alyssa requested it the last second. But so far, we have James from Pokemon, we have Link, and we have Venti, but from Genshin Impact. Hey, Jay. Jay is one of our lovely graphic designers at the studio, and one of our website team people. If y'all don't know. Sorry if I'm getting more silent. I'm trying to, like, I really want to finish this one before the end. I'm gonna go over the 2 hours, definitely, but I don't want to go too far over. Oh, gee, it is James. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Doing such a good job on this. Thank you, Rhea. Load, please. Excellent. Yeah, Medibang's kind of slow when it comes to saving. Guess it's because this is a 5,000 pixel canvas, but... It's also because my laptop does not like handling big things anymore. She's getting kind of old. If you don't have access to life-drawing models, what other ways would you suggest to get better at anatomy? If you would really like live models, get a mirror and draw yourself. I'm not even kidding. I was doing it yesterday. It's a great practice. Or you can, you know, use images. Images are completely fine. Sometimes you can find free life drawing videos as well on YouTube where they'll be timed and the model will switch. But yeah, if you really want like a live model, draw yourself, draw your family members, draw the people around you, go to a park, draw the people there. Because most likely the people at a, like, be safe. But drawing people at a park will give you an extra layer of challenge as well, because they're not going to stay still for you. They're going to start moving. So that's when you're going to have to practice gesture. Get fast like me. But, yes. Love your voice, but also don't mind the silence and hearing your strokes. Unintentional ASMR, yeah. Thank you. I find my voice quite annoying, but if you like it, then all the more to you. During action poses, yeah, action poses, go to a park. Or, another thing that I've found useful is if you watch sports replays, like on TV or on, like, on YouTube, but don't pause it. Just find a pose and draw. Dance videos are another one that work well. Acrobats, really, really good. Oh, I shouldn't draw nails because this is a glove. Acrobats are one of my favorite ways to get better at anatomy, because acrobats have some of the weirdest, because their bones don't exist, so it's like you get a lot of like bendy poses that you can really, really mess around with. Oops. It's a great way to get better. And don't use a pencil, use a pen. When you're using a pen, you don't have the ability to erase, and what that means is that you will learn to get stuff better on the first try. That's how you get faster, is you start to learn to rely on your eraser less. You learn how to do stuff in one go, and that's how I've learned to get faster, very, very quickly. Gotta go, bye. Bye! Thank you for joining! We all find our own voices annoying and weird when we hear it played back. Very true. Not me dropping my phone in the crevice between the bed and the wall. See, my bed is weird because it's like a bed frame and it has like drawers underneath it, but like I can easily drop things in between the crevice of like my bed frame, my mattress, and the floor, and it's really, really hard to get out because it's not like it falls on the other side. It's like stuck in the crevice, and it's the worst thing in the world. I have to use like my makeshift fishing hook. Straight up, it's a clothing hanger that's like bent to be like a hook, and I attach like a piece of sticky tack to it, and I like fish out stuff from the bottom. It's the worst thing ever. I haven't done it in a really long time, but that's how I would get pieces of paper out, too. Okay. I think this actually does this. It goes this way. Yeah, that looks better. That looks more correct. Okay. Trying to be fast, so I'm sorry if my line work isn't very clean. It's like taking that extra step on the top of the stairs. Minor inconvenience, yeah. But yes, whenever you draw something, that's a really big tip for me. If you ever want to get faster, use a pen, do like a brush pen or like a ballpoint pen, whatever. Just something that you can't erase to get stuff on the first go. Oops. Sorry. If you heard that, sorry. That was an alarm. How long are you drawing till? Technically, I'm supposed to end the stream now, but I want to finish this one before I end it. So I'm going to keep going until I finish this. Won't take me very long, I don't think. Long their gut feelings, you just gotta flow, it's hard to stop. Yep, I just gotta finish this one. I promised myself I would do 4, so I am doing 4. One person per half hour, even though James took a little bit longer than half an hour, so it messed up the flow a little bit, but that's okay. Worth it. Worth it to draw James. Alright. Did I line everything? No, I didn't do this right. That's fine. Maybe you're not listening to me, .jpg. Oh, I didn't do this. How many eyelets is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's something artists check for, by the way. Adjudicators and stuff. If you have the same amount of things, if you're drawing like shoes, or if you're doing concept art, and you have like your concept art sheet and then your final, they count to make sure that things are the same. Count your things. Don't get lazy. I mean, I'm getting kind of lazy with a few things here, but like, that's just because I'm on a clock. Oops, I forgot this. There we go. Okay. Okay, sure. Alright. Leon's skin tone is actually a little bit darker, so I am going to color match a little bit. Just the photo of him off to the side here. Oh, actually, that's pretty good on the first try. I want to make it a little bit more saturated, though. Yeah, okay. Yeah? No. I think... Yeah. Okay, yeah. Don't want to waste time. Okay. His hair is purple. That much I know. It's kind of this color. Color matching with your eyes is a really good practice as well if you've never done it before. Rather than color picking. Like, you can color pick, sure, but like it's a little more fun to color match with your eyes. I think it's a great way to be able to pick out colors. And if you have to work traditionally, it's a great way to learn how things blend. Eventually, with enough practice, you get pretty good at it, too. Her liner, me. Early morning help, I need to go work, type fit. Me too. Looking pretty trendy, thank you. I think this is the most trendy outfit I've drawn out of all of them. As I said, Hallmark main love interest type beat. Hallmark movie. Hallmark Christmas movie. I'm gonna go with tan kind of coat. I feel like Hallmark movies are a mom thing, you know? If y'all like Hallmark movies, tell me. And then I want to hear why. You know those Christmas ones? I know it's not Christmas anymore, but like, you ever see those ones where it's like... It's usually the same deal. Usually the same kind of plot with all of them, you know? Oh, I should use just the paint bucket. Reference the canvas. It's because my tolerance is so low. Excellent. Oh! Okay. Just have to fix that then. Definitely hip with that coffee. I'm one of those weird people that don't like coffee, like, at all. The amount of times I've been offered coffee and then I have to go, oh, I don't like coffee, I'm sorry. And they're like, really? But you're an artist. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I prefer tea. For all you Canadians out there, I was texted by a friend recently because I was told, like, or I was asked, like, what's your favorite drinks? And I was like, oh, I love white hot chocolate, which is like a Tim Hortons thing. But, like, I've been told, if you like matcha, I've been told to put matcha in the white hot chocolate, and apparently, like, 2 scoops of matcha powder into the white hot chocolate, and apparently makes it 20 times better. I've been told. So, I'll try it, obviously, because I love matcha, but, like, if anybody else wants to try it with me, tell me, and we can try it together. Other Canadians, or other Wing Canvas members, and we can try matcha hot chocolate together. What color is pants, usually? They're like a brown, like khakis. Khakis. Yeah? A little bit lighter, maybe. Because I don't want to match it to the jacket too much. Yeah, okay. And obviously the Timberlands have a correct color to them. It's more like that, yeah. Very much a mom thing, yeah, I think it is. We're almost done, guys. I know it's 2:06, but, like, we're almost there. I feel like I'm saying that more for myself. It's okay. That's the wrong color. That should be maybe a little bit more orangey. Yeah, actually. Okay. Yeah, we're almost done here. I just gotta do the shadows after this, and then we're good. Yeah, shadows never take that long, just because they're not too hard to do. Come on, there we go. Do y'all talk to your art programs? I talk to my art programs. I've been told that it's not just me, but I want to hear it from someone else too. And once again, my shadows and how I shade is very much a stylized thing because I do like to make my shadows very, very geometric. I love my geometry with shadows. Even though in terms of actually drawing, I'm not very geometric with my sketches. Okay, bye! Thank you for joining Lennox Williams. Me, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Me. That's only when I work with really large files. I find that Photoshop doesn't crash that often for me. Maybe because I work with a very, very small amount of layers usually. So it doesn't take that much, like, memory. But this recent, like, piece that I have to work on it has a crazy amount of layers and it's scaring me to death. It's because it takes so long to save and open. It's like a 4,000 by 4,000. It's like a 4,000, almost 5,000 pixel piece. And then, like, I think so far it has like 30 to 40 layers or so. Probably more. It's really, really jank, but, like, I have to work with it. And I'm like, I'm so scared every time I open it. This Photoshop file. Adobe loves to crash. It really does, from what I've heard anyway. 30 is a crazy amount for me, by the way. I know some people are like, oh, 30 is not that bad. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm the type of person that works with, like, a max of 10. Like, you see this? My amount of layers that I normally use, that's it. That's all I do. Oh, whoops. This should be this layer. There we go. Your layering is terrible. You always hit around 100 with your current style, Jay. Yeah. I've had the same layer thing for years. Just work with as little as possible. I know that Alyssa works with a lot too. My old profs would work with a ton as well. I'm the weird one. I don't work with many. I might try doing all the color on one layer so I can reduce it to 10. Yeah, exactly. And everybody's like, oh, I do a different layer for every color. I'm like, no, you just one layer. One layer for all your flats, one layer for all your shadows. That's all you need, broski. Like, obviously this isn't how I do my shadows normally, but this is my quick shadow method. Alright, we're almost done. Just the highlights and I'm good. A little extra highlight here too, just because I went kind of extra with the shadows this time around. Alright, y'all! Hey! We did it. 4 whole characters. How about that? Let's get it, guys. Alright, so thank you so much for joining the stream, everybody. As always, you can check out our social medias, which are Instagram, Facebook, and Discord. Our Discord, which will all be in the links down below, as usual. And if you join our Discord, you'll be able to see the final file where I will upload it as a JPEG, where you are actually allowed to download it, so it'll be all yours. But as always, thank you so much for joining the stream. If you also want to check out the classes that we teach, I teach classes, so does Alyssa. You can check those out on our website under the classes section. I teach both art mentorship and cartooning anime 3 on Thursdays and Saturdays. If you want to have a class with me, or if you want a class with Alyssa, check out which classes that we teach, and you can sign up if you'd like to join a class with us. But other than that, thank you so much for joining. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.